Did anyone speak to you about the need for that clarification that you apparently felt was necessary?
I believe my mother told me that it needed to be more clarified.
Did she say why?
No, just more clarified.
And to be clear about this, at the time, and now we're speaking of times, we're speaking of August 24th, September 11th, and September 15th. Did you believe you were a principal of WCD on any of those occasions?
No, I did not.
How would you have described yourself at the time in terms of your relationship with World Class Developments?
At the time, I was basically acting as real estate agent and the promoter of the development. Visionary.
Let me ask you this directly, Mr. McCallion. Did you swear the September affidavits in an attempt to minimize your role within World Class Developments at your mother's request?
No.
In fact, did you swear the September affidavits because you wanted to minimize your interest in WCD at all?
No, I did not.
Now, in retrospect, today, as we're here on July 27th, 2010, knowing what you know now, what is your view of the accuracy of the first affidavit, the August 24th affidavit?
Based on what I know today, I was a principal.
Why do you say that, sir?
By way of the trust declaration.
I'm turning now to the final area that we'll cover today, Mr. McCallion, and that is the settlement of the OMERS and World Class Developments litigation. Did you play any role in facilitating that settlement, sir?
I arranged a meeting between Tony DeChico and Dave O'Brien.
Can you tell me how that came about, please?
Well, I was at a TAC golf dinner at TAC, and Dave O'Brien was there, and he came to me and said, I hear you're having difficulties with OMERS. Can I help?
Pardon me, did you tell me when this was?
It'd be in July, but I don't have a date.
In July of 2009, though?
2009, yes.
Right.
Or June. It could have been the end of June. I don't remember when the date of the golf tournament was.
Fair enough. Now, I'd interrupted you. You were saying that Mr. O'Brien approached you at this charity golf tournament.
Correct. And he said if he could help to settle the differences. I says, okay, I will arrange a meeting with Tony and yourself and see if something can be settled.
Did you attend that meeting?
Yes, I did. It was a breakfast meeting.
Where did it take place?
Sunset Grill in Mississauga.
Was there a further meeting?
Yes, there was. There was no resolution in the first meeting.
Fair enough. And then there was a further meeting, and where was it?
That was at the Delta Hotel in September. I don't have the exact date.
Now, you attended that meeting as well?
Yes, I did.
So you've told me your role was facilitating settlement by arranging meetings. Is that right?
That's correct.
Did you play any other role at the meetings themselves?
No, I did not.
From your observations, how close were the parties in their positions?
They weren't close.
Can you elaborate on that?
At the first or the second meeting. Tony was, I believe, 8 or 10 million, and I think David had maybe mentioned the 2 million or something. I don't really exactly know the number.
Did Mr. DeChico talk to you about the final settlement terms?
No, he didn't.
Did Mr. Bachelia?
No, he did not.
Did Mr. O'Brien?
No, he did not.
Did you expect to be consulted about the final settlement terms?
No, I did not.
Did you sign any of the settlement documents?
No, I did not.
Were you asked to sign anything?
No, I wasn't.
Now, in September, we know that this actually settled, I believe, September 11th, 2009. When this matter settled, did you expect to receive a part of the proceeds of the settlement?
No, I expected to receive the money that I'd put in, though, and the loan to TAC to be paid.
When you refer to the money that you'd put in, I take it you're referring to the three loans, the TAC loan and the two other loans.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
That we've covered.
Minus whatever I took out already.
And we've covered those in the course of my questions of you this morning. Is that fair?
Correct, yes.
And that was your expectation in September of 2009 in relation to payments from World Class Developments. Today, July 27, 2010, do you expect to receive any payment from World Class Developments, Mr. McCallion?
No, I do not.
Any payment apart from perhaps repayment of the loans?
Oh, repayment of the loans, for sure. Anything above that, I'm not expecting anything.
Thank you very much, Mr. McCallion. Those are my questions.
There's been some discussion among council as to the order. I wonder if it might make sense to have some of the questioners who've indicated they're going to be fairly brief go now. Messrs. Jack and Barrack, I gather, have a few questions.
Sure.
And perhaps Ms. Rothstein, if we get there.
Yes, John, I only have a few questions, but I'd actually like a brief opportunity just to speak to someone before I ask those questions.
All right, well, why don't we, Mr. Jack or Mr. Barrack, if they're ready to proceed, why don't we do that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jack.
Thank you. Mr. McCallion, my name is Don Jack, and I represent 156 Square One Limited.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Now, you have been active as a registered real estate agent in the Mississauga area for many years,
Yes.
and active particularly in more recent years as a commercial real estate agent,
Correct.
and well known in that capacity.
As well known as you can be.
Yes. And there was no secret, of course, about your role as agent on the WCD transaction, correct?
Yes.
You were not, of course, being paid by my client or any of the vendors,
Correct.
and there was never any question of that, was there?
In the beginning, I was hoping that, yes, but in the end, they didn't want to.
Yes. Mr. Lusk made it clear that you would not be paid by
Yes.
my clients, correct?
Correct.
Yes. And as the agent on the transaction, you were to be paid only if the transaction closed, correct?
If there was commission on the transaction, yes.
Yes. And for that to happen, the transaction actually had to proceed to a closing, would it not?
Correct.
Yes. And you were to be paid in that event the usual agent's fee, correct? You have to
Correct.
give me a verbal answer?
Yes, yes, correct.
Thank you. And that would be quite different, would it not, from sharing in the ultimate profits of the development were it to be a success, correct?
Correct.
Those profits, if the venture were to be a success, would very likely exceed the normal agent's fee that you might get.
I would believe that to be true.
Yes. In addition to that, unless you were to disclose any proprietary interest you had, that interest would remain unknown, wouldn't it? You would simply be known as the agent on the deal.
Well, if there was no payment on commission, there is no agent then.
No, but if we were to suppose for a moment, just for the purposes of these questions, that you had an interest beyond merely being the agent as you've described,
Correct.
unless that were specifically disclosed, it would not be known, correct?
I believe that to be true.
Yes. And you disclosed no such interest, if you had one, to my clients particularly, did you?
No, I did not.
In fact, with the exception of attending meetings at Page and Steele, those were the architects, which we've heard about from Mr. Lusk, which was relatively early in the process, you never actually met with any representatives of my clients, did you?
At what stage are we at now?
Well, Mr. Lusk, as you may know, is a real estate consultant.
Yes.
The evidence has been that he was acting for my clients, and the evidence has been that you were at a Page and Steele meeting or meetings relatively early in the process.
Correct.
Yes. Aside from that occasion, I'm suggesting to you that you never actually attended any meetings with anybody who could be said to be a representative of my clients.
You're right. No, I did not.
You agree with that?
Yes.
You never sent my clients anything, did
No.
you? No. And it seems, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but it seemed in answer to questions from Mr. Gover that you didn't actually know about the existence of my clients for quite some time as this matter progressed.
Correct.
And as far as you are aware, sir, my clients would have had no reason to think of you as anything other than a normal real estate agent in this transaction. Would you agree with that? Now, one thing I want to make clear, because it's going to be important as we proceed, is it your position that you never told Omers or Oxford or any person representing them that you were off the file?
I don't recall that, no.
Is it your position that as far as you know, you did not convey any such statement to the mayor herself?
I don't recall that, no.
And as far as you know, she did not convey any such information to Omers Oxford?
I do not know that.
You know of no occasion when she did that?
I know of no occasion of her conveying that to anybody.
Yes. And do you have any observations at all as to why Omers Oxford would have conveyed to my clients that you were off the file on December 16, 2008?
No, I do not.
Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. McCallion, my name's Michael Barrick and I act for Omers.
Oh, thank you.
Now, the answers that you just gave with respect to AIM, I take it you never told anyone at Omers you were anything other than a broker?
Yes.
You say yes, you didn't tell anyone?
I didn't tell anybody.
And throughout the piece, the only time you've told us that you had a meeting of any substance was this meeting on October 23, 2008?
Yes.
And other than that, you never came close to negotiating anything
No, I did
with
not.
Omers or Oxford?
No, I did not.
And in fact, at that meeting, you delivered a letter, and it was a letter from Mr. DeChico.
Correct.
And in fact, Mr. DeChico was the person at that point that was negotiating principally on behalf of WCD.
That's correct, yes.
And earlier, in the striking of the agreement of purchase and sale, Mr. Cook was the person who negotiated on behalf of WCD.
Yes, completely.
And in terms of the amendments to the agreement of purchase and sale, that was Mr. DeChico?
I believe so, yes.
Right. And on the termination of the agreement of purchase and sale, that was Mr. DeChico?
Correct.
And similarly, with respect to the settlement of the lawsuit, that was you spoke to Mr. O'Brien about arranging some meetings, but